Dragonfly Trading. My name is Carrie, and I'm a full-time Elliott Wave trader in the crypto and Forex markets. Today's video is going to be an update on Bitcoin, ETH, and we're going to take a look at the DXY. I wore this headband just to give Bitcoin some hopium and hope that we hold 30K here. That would be really nice, right? If you're interested in becoming a full-time Elliott Wave trader yourself and learning my entire system, which is not just Elliott Wave, we are making leaps and bounds in the Discord, and we would love to have you. Just go to my website, sign up for this new month, and come and join our family. All right, let's get started. So we're on the monthly time frame here. We're going to close a monthly candle. Let's take a look at it. It's not the ugliest candle in the world, but it's not the most beautiful. If we come down and take out that little bit of wick we have, it won't be a beautiful candle. Like, we need to keep that little bit of wick we have. If we take it out, it's going to be in a bearish engulfing. Now, we would have to come down all the way to approximately 33,000 to fill that in. Okay? And we have a day to go. So, let's see what happens with that. We take that wick out, it's going to be bearish engulfing. Monthly RSI, we really need to hold 50. Okay? When we've broke 40 or 50 in the past, we've gotten these capitulation type dumps. So holding 50 would be very nice on the monthly time frame. Moving down to the weekly, this candle, if we can push up to approximately 38,900, we will close the wick in on the top, and this would be a nice bullish type of reversal candle. It would be called an inverted hammer. I'm sorry, a hammer candle. Okay? Those are reversal candles, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to reverse here. Okay? It just would be a nice candle. And we'll talk about that when we get down into the counts. On the weekly time frame RSI, we would have to take out approximately 29,000 in price to take out this bullish divergence that we have. As long as we hold above it, we will hold the bullish divergence. We really need to hold the 30 level. We've already broke 40, and we're holding pretty nicely to have broken 40, because when we've broke 40 before, we've had huge dumps. Here, when we broke 40, we had a huge dump. So for breaking 40 and not actually dumping down, that is actually pretty bullish, actually. Okay. So Bitcoin's doing a very nice job of holding with breaking 40 on the weekly. The 4-day, the 2-day, both are sitting in the same position where if we hold 30K in price, we will hold on to this bullish divergence. All right, let's get into this. I've drawn two channels here. The first one is what we call a 1 and a 2 channel. When your 2 wave comes deep like this one did, your 3rd wave will break out of the channel. Your 4th wave will either find support above the channel or on the channel. Okay. And we have the 1.382 coming right in there. Now, what could happen here, and let's talk about the other channel, is I drew it from the top and I pulled downwards. Because pulling it from this one to this pivot upwards wouldn't be the right way to do it. Okay, so I lined it up on the top and pulled it downwards to this pivot. They are both converging right between the 1.382 and the 1.618. So it's a good chance that if we come down here, maybe we just wick through and get a buy up. That's very possible. Okay. So with that said, and I wanted to show you the channels first, let's take a look at something called Keltner channels. We're on the 2-week time frame. When I was reading the Constance Brown book, she talked about Keltner channels. And she also talked a lot about putting them around the RSI. And that is how and what motivated me to hunt for an indicator that had the channels around the RSI. And ever since I found this one, and it's called the TDI, the Traders Dynamic Index, I have fell in love with it. It is just absolutely wonderful. If you haven't watched my strategy videos, I suggest that you do that. Okay, that is what motivated this indicator, is these channels. So as you can see here on the 2-week, we wicked it, the bottom, we wicked the bottom, we hit the bottom, we wicked the bottom. This channel is sitting right at approximately 26K. If we came down again, worst case scenario here, and came to the bottom of the channel, we would totally stay out of our wave 1. And every time it's done that, it's either moved to the other side or it's come to the back to the midline. On a weekly time frame, same thing. Every time we've wicked through the bottom, we've either gone to the other side of the channel or we've come to the midline and eventually went to the other side of the channel. So what I'm getting at here, it is the same concept as what I talk about on my indicator coming out of the bottom of the band. Coming out of the bottom of this band is a big sign that we're bottoming. And right now on the weekly, we are touching the bottom of it. So, do we wick through it and come back up? It's a very good possibility. All right, let's talk about some counts here. The first count is the bullish count we still have on the table. It is assuming that we have a 5-wave move here and that we're coming down correctively in a WXY. This WXY needs to hold 31,300. Absolute worst case scenario, we cannot break 28,750. We cannot break this wave 1. We have to hold above it for this count to come true. If this is the count, and I'll give you a little bullish hopium and headband and all here, and we came down to the 1-to-1 worst case scenario, we're looking at a 5th wave taking us up to 225,000. Okay, And that's with no overextended waves. That's without the third getting overextended. That's without the third of the third getting overextended or the fifth getting overextended, okay? That is bare minimum, 225. That's some bullish opium for you. And all we got to do to make this count possibly become possible is hold and not break below this one. This count is still on the table. Okay. Next count is the triangle count. It's still on the table. This is what we call a running triangle. I would like to see us hold this current level if it's going to take place. But we could come down one more little move and it might be still acceptable. I could move this trend line down just a little bit, okay? But it's got to make a higher low than our A wave. Has to. And then we would come up in 3, come down in 3, and head out the top. And we would assume that this is a 3-wave move. The triangle is still on the table. Okay, the next two counts are basically the same. The only difference is one is assuming we're coming down in 3 waves, and the other will be a 5-wave move. So right now, this count is a WXY, and it assumes we have ABC, X, ABC, and it's making an inner W, X, and Y. And this whole leg is a Y wave also. For this count to be valid, this C wave can come as deep as this next box, this last ABC. But it can't come any deeper than that because a Y wave doesn't go past the 1.382, and it shouldn't. And also, an ABC zigzag shouldn't go past the 2.236, and they're all lining up in this second box. So for this count, we can totally hold this first box, or we can extend down to the next box for the WXY. The next count is assuming that we're coming down in the same way, but we're coming down in 5 waves. And I am sure if you have watched different Elliotticians, we're all counting this a little different. And that is because it is a difficult count to count in 5 waves, which has me leaning more towards the WXY count. And the problem is this big correction that we have in the middle. Okay. So I'm sure that you've seen some people draw 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, something like this. I have a problem with that because this 3 does not hit the 1.618. So the only way that I can get this count to really work and really look symmetrical and really look like a 5-wave move is to count it like this, where the 1 was here, 2 was here, we're still in the 3rd, we'll still get a 4th and a 5th. Now, am I absolutely correct? I can't say I'm absolutely correct because that would be way narcissistic, wouldn't it be? So, now there is one more way that we could be coming down in 5 waves, and that is a diagonal. where we had 3, 3, 3. Now we're going to make 3 to the upside, and then we come down for 3. And that could lead us right in to this 1-to-1. And we could hold here. And this would be an ending diagonal for our same count of A, B, C. So making this 5 waves for me seems a lot more logical the way that this is coming down for it to be an ending diagonal, but we will have to wait and see if we get this pop to the upside, and we'll talk about it when we get down into the lower time frames. Let's get in closer here. Let's talk about what we can see on RSI. Right now, we've created just about bearish divergence between these two pivots. Okay, keep that in mind. On the 12-hour, definitely bearish divergence between these two pivots. 8 hours, same thing. Okay. And the 4 hours, same thing. So now let's talk about what counts it could be. All right. So hopium count first. Hopium count, and let me get in a little closer here. Hopium count is assuming this is a wave 1 and that we pulled back in 3 waves for wave 2, and now we're making a leading diagonal. If this is the count, this would be considered a 1-2 and a 1-2. We absolutely cannot break this red line, sitting at 35,546. Cannot break it. If we break it, this 1-2, 1-2 comes off the table. And it means that we will go up in a bullish 5-wave move. Okay? This is the bullish option, assuming this is a leading diagonal. To be honest, and my bias is that it's not. Okay, it's difficult to squeeze it in there. Okay, but it is possible that this count is true. And the reason I don't really like it is because of this, the way it made this first wave. A leading diagonal usually doesn't make a flat correction for its wave 1. Okay. Second count is assuming this is 5 waves and that we're making a correction to the downside. This is a bullish count too. With this bullish count, we cannot break this bottom. And it would assume one of two things. That either we're going to get an A, a B, and a C to the upside. So we'll be getting an upside move. Or this is a wave 1. It's going to make a wave 2, and then a 3, a 4, and a 5. Just a different way to go up in a 5-wave move. Not a leading diagonal. Means we're going to come to the downside, and we can't break this low. Okay. All right. One last thing, the bearish count, because there always is one. The bearish count is assuming we're in a 4th wave, and there's 2 ways we could have done this over here. First one is the white way, where we made a flat as a 3-wave move. And the second way is the yellow way, where we made a zigzag for a 3-wave move. And it's going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to make a correction here, just like the other one, and then it's going to use this three-wave move to connect to this one and then go to the upside some more. Or it has used this leg, made a three-wave correction, and this is its partner. And it's a WXY. If we crack over the 618, the 1-to-1 is our next target. And it can keep climbing correctively here. And it would be 3, 3, and then 3. This would end up being a WXY if it made it up to there. Okay, which is very possible the way it's acting right now. That it's making WXY, something like that. Okay. All right. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Okay. My bias is the way the RSI is sitting, how high it is right now, that we need to make this correction and build some bullish divergence if we're going to go bullish. All right, let's move over to ETH so this video isn't so long. All right, monthly time frame, monthly candle. It's bearish. We would really need to push up to make it a bullish one. We come down any lower, it's going to be bearish engulfing. Okay. Weekly candle, if we can push up and take out that little bit of wick we have there, that would be a very nice bullish reversal candle. Now, just because we print one doesn't mean that we're necessarily reversing. Keep that in mind. But because we need confirmation candles after it. All right? So let's talk about the counts real quick. We still have the bullish option, same as Bitcoin. We cannot break this low. For this to be the start of something and this to be a pullback. Cannot break this low. And it would be the same thing, a wave one. And we'd have to be coming down in ABC. And I would really think that it would need to hold where it's at. Because the next fib extension down would take that wave one out. So we would really need to basically go now in ETH. Triangle's still on the table. Still totally valid. This could even come down a little bit more like I talked about with Bitcoin. All right, let's talk about what I think this count is. I think it's an ABC. Okay. Looking at it, okay, I think that the B wave actually ended here, that this was an ABC, and this was a fifth wave truncation. And we're coming down in 5 waves as an ABC. We can totally possibly make a higher low and hold this fib extension. This would be a 4, and this would be a 5 that comes down here. Now, if it's going to get uglier, and it's not really ugly right now at all, but if it is, what it will do is it will use this leg as a 1. We'd bounce for 2, and then we'd come down for 3, 4, 5, or it would use it as an A wave. We'd bounce for B, and we come down for C. Something like that. And this turns into just a bigger correction where we make W, X, and this ends up being Y. So basically, if we don't hold this level on both Bitcoin and ETH, there's a good possibility that we come much deeper. And I talked about it in my last video that I feel like it would be a waterfall effect. So to end it off, let's take a look at DXY, because DXY matters, okay? So I see this move as an A, B, C, and now we have made 5, 3, 5 to the downside. So what does this mean? Well, it means one of two things. It means we're either going to make this correction bigger in here, where we make some type of connector wave here, and then we connect it like this. Something like that, okay? And it gets extended out much longer and there's a lot more bouncing around. Or this is going to use this 3 waves. This is a connector, and we have a pretty big move to the upside coming. And what would that mean for Bitcoin? It wouldn't be good for it at all. So we really need this to move sideways. I don't see a possibility at this moment where this would go downward, because it made a zigzag right here and we're moving to the upside. So it either has to connect this correction longer, or it's going to connect this one to the upside, which would not be good for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at how closely related they've been. The candles are Bitcoin. As you can see, when we move towards, when the DXY moved to the upside, that is the exact place we started dumping. Here, when it pushed further to the upside, that's when we really dumped. When it was in this correction is when we moved to the upside. When it took off to the upside again, we dumped again. When it was in this correction, we came to the upside. And now here recently, when it dumped, that is this little move we have to the upside. So whatever the DXY's next move is when it opens tonight, whether if it's up, you can pretty much count on Bitcoin coming down, because there's been so correlated here lately. So put the DXY on your chart. Pay attention to it, because you can take this recently all the way down to the 5-minute, and they are like DXY dumps, Bitcoin goes up. I mean, they've been very close lately. All right, so I know this video is a little long, but I hope it was worth it. And thank you for watching. And if you watched it to the end, let me know if you like my headband. I like it, and hopefully it gave you some hopium. All right, I'll see you in the next one.